G'day guys, welcome to Strictly Sega this week. How you doing?
I'm Nick.
I'm Charlie, and this week we're doing we're pretty much celebrating the end of the Olympics. We're not doing the Olympics, we're celebrating the end of the Olympics by covering classic Olympic style kind of game. Congratulations to China for a great success right from the opening ceremony. It was a huge production, and it was 2 weeks where you guaranteed you'd be on the couch until 2 o'clock in the morning watching television.
So last week we did Die Hard Arcade, which was a classic that came out on the STV board. This week, to tie it all in with the Olympics, we're going for another game that came out on the STV board called Athlete Kings, or Decathlete, depending on where you're from, but we're taking a look at the Athlete Kings version today on the Sega Saturn.
First, let's start with the Titan STV. Well, it's an arcade board made by Sega that's exactly like the Saturn almost. The only differences between the two are the medium in which the game is stored. The STV uses cartridges, whereas the Saturn uses CD-ROM storage. But overall they run pretty much the same way. So developers had the advantage of being able to release their games twice for two separate releases of essentially the same thing. Some of the other games that use the Titan board are Steep Slope Sliders, Golden Axe, The Duel, and Baku Baku.
Anyway, so should we actually talk about some Athlete Kings?
Can't we just talk more about the Olympics while we play?
It's a real button mash, with the odd kind of requirement for skill. I really love these kind of games, but it really is best played when you've got your best mate with you and you can really taunt them. Dude, sorry. You bastard!
Now, back to the Olympics. So Australia came 6th, but hung in the top 5, even 4th for a while. So not really a letdown by any means. I'm sure every Aussie would agree we had a good solid Olympics, and somewhat more eventful one than Athens. Highlights. Well, for me, sitting through the 12 innings women's softball game between Australia and Japan, I've never seen a softball game go for 12 innings before. The beach volleyball was always fun. The BMX jumps managed to raise a bit of attention, for me anyway. The rowing rocked, but the sailing sucked. And when it came down to the swimming, the diving, the gymnastics and the marathon, I wasn't really all that captivated by them. Not enough to keep watching anyway. But hey, that's me.
No bombs is another good thing.
That was a good thing, wasn't it? You know, it's always good to have Olympics with no bombs.
Anyway. No, hang on.
Yeah.
Back to Athlete Kings.
It was a very successful Olympics.
Back to Athlete Kings. Look, it's a great game. It's one of those games you can sort of talk away a little bit while you're playing. That's kind of why we get distracted and talk about the Olympics a lot while we're playing it. But
talk about everything while you're playing the game, because you're not really using much brain power actually playing the game. It's more just a button masher, isn't it?
Yeah. But anyway, talking about the button mashing, let's have a look at some of the finer controls that we have in the game. First up, we've got the 100-meter dash. It's the ultimate button masher, where you really got to get your body into the right position so you can mash the button that fast. And I know what that looks like, but yeah, it's not, trust me. Now we have long jump. This one's difficult from the perspective that you've got to run as fast as you can, but then stop on a specific point and then get your angle right. Then we got the shot put. It's a really difficult one to get the right timing, as it's only up at the top of the power bar just for a millisecond. But once you get that, the angle's pretty easy to get because the clock moves pretty slow on this one. Then we got the high jump. It's another one where you really got to get the speed up, get the timing right, get the angle of your jump right, but then also spin the digital pad to get your body over the bar as well. It sounds a bit difficult, but it is easier than some of the later ones. Then we got the 400-meter race. This is more of a constant button masher. You just have to manage your stamina just a little bit to get to the end of the race, but you can really run pretty fast through most of it. Then we got the 110-meter hurdles. This is really rewarding when you win. getting over a few of those hurdles in a row can really see you out to a fair lead pretty early. Next up we got the discus. This is a hard one to release at the right time, and you really have to change the way your hands are on the digital controller to be able to spin it fast enough to be able to get enough power to get the world record. Then we're on to the pole vault. This is probably the most difficult of all of them. You have to get up to speed, drop the stick at the right time, get the power right, and also release at the right time. If you don't release at the right time, you can end up dangling on the end of the pole and you look like a real fool. In total contrast to that, we move on to javelin, which is probably the easiest of all of them. You just have to get up to a constant speed and let go at the right time. It's pretty easy to get the world record on this one. It's probably the first world record you'll get.
We have in current progress the game stack, where they try to stack as many games as they can in 30 seconds flat. Of course, the highest pile is being set as a world record by Mr. Tate in 112 games in 30 seconds.
Next we got the 1500 metre race. This is all about pacing yourself and not wasting all your energy. It takes a bit of work to break the world record, but it's pretty easy to win the race. You just have to try and maintain a pretty slow speed around most of the race and then come home strong. So that was the roundup of the Olympics with very small amount of athlete kings thrown in there for good measure.
But it was a good Olympics. It was a fun Olympics. Yeah, no, we've been playing the game a lot before the Olympics. It's a good game. It's in my opinion, not a great game, but Nick seems to love it.
Well, people like me can sit there and try and break all the records because we've got this sort of concentration and almost obsessive compulsive need to break records like that.
I do that with knights too.
Yeah.
You know, I like to top my own score and
Indeed.
challenge myself on different bosses and stuff like that.
But it really does come into its own element when you've got someone else to play with and challenge. It's really good like that. And I think in a lot of ways this game, when it came out, was pretty good in terms of graphics. Like, I know it's not something that you...
Well, it was 3D, which is
3D.
standard by the time this came out in the arcade, at least, you know.
They at least made an effort, you know. And
Well, if you look at the other athlete games, there's on the 3DO. There was another Athlete Kings on the 3DO that was very similar to this. Had the sort of, you know how this is sort of a Daytona style graphics, whereas the Athlete Kings on the 3DO was more, in my opinion, more like the Need for Speed graphics. You know, just how they've sort of been stepped up a bit, but yet. So it wasn't so much the graphic engine that got me on this game. It was more of the competitive. You know, like you have to beat your own scores. It's, you know, it's more of a competitiveness about it and variety. You know, it has a lot of variety in it. Lots of different events that do different things. You know, you have to do different tactics and stuff. Anyway, so that's pretty much it for this week. We've got a
enjoyed Athlete Kings and our views, well, Chuck's views on the Olympics.
And Nick's views on Athlete Kings. Anyway, yeah, we've got a podcast coming up this week. For our first time, we're giving it a go. We know we are strictly Sega, but we thought we might give PS3 a bit of a run for its money. And our musician, again, it's like deja vu. Every time we make a take, that little MSN seems to go big to us. Anyway, so our musician's come on and he's going to do a telephone interview with us, talking about some of his favourite newest games and stuff like that, and we thought it might make a good podcast. So, expanding our horizons somewhat, you know, making it interesting. So, comment, rate, you know,
subscribe, come and have a look at the new channel.
Move over guys. From Everyone Loves Butters. Everyone Loves Butters is sort of my own little channel to muck around and stir people up with, you know. Come to Strictly Sega for Strictly Sega shows like this, you know.
So, thanks guys, that's been Season 2, Episode 2. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll catch you next week.
See you guys. Is his phone ringing?